Mike, let's go to the other side of the football for a moment and talk about the safety position. I think there's obviously a need to continue to upgrade the talent at that particular position. In fact, I know Coach O'Leary even mentioned, hey, there's a chance we might even pick up a grad transfer in the next couple of weeks. So there might be urgency now. And of course, you have to build up the depth again at the safety position. Are there some names Irish fans should be listening for?
Yeah, in terms of O'Leary's comment, anytime a coach is going to say, "Yeah, we might look at the transfer portal," that's going to be huge, right? Like that's a big talking point with the media. But to be completely honest with you guys, they're doing that at every position. Maybe they're not going to do it at quarterback, or maybe not, you know, another defensive end because they got Javonte Jean Baptiste, or maybe not another hybrid nickel safety because they got the Harper kid from Oklahoma State. But like everywhere else, they're always looking. So I kind of like, yeah, maybe us media folks are like, oh, Chris O'Leary said that. A lot of these interviews are boring, but that's an interesting tidbit. It's really not, because they're looking to always add talent. Okay, with that being said, at safety, we talked about Kennedy Urlacher. I think of the safety targets, he's the most likely to join Notre Dame's class. And I'll have an article in the next week or so about at Blue and Gold going through some of the safety names, because it is important to go through, because it's kind of hard to get a feel on it because not many of the safeties have been on campus. They have no commits. So it's like, who are these safety targets? So I also wanted to talk about it in today's segment. So Urlacher, definitely a big one. Also visiting for the spring game is Davis Andrews, 6'2", 190 pounds, from American Fork, Utah. Utah's not a hotbed for Notre Dame recruiting, but this does go to show, as always, like Notre Dame will recruit the best players, no matter where they are. And the Fighting Irish staff is really excited about this guy. Similar to Urlacher, like he's a pretty big kid and he hits. So there is maybe a potential projection for Rover. But Notre Dame's recruiting both Andrews and Urlacher as safeties. And then just one other guy to mention, Jalen McLean, who I know, the Notre Dame staff is really excited about, from West Orange, New Jersey, Seton Hall Prep, a 4-star prospect. He has Notre Dame as one of his favorite schools early on in the process. Just hasn't been to Notre Dame, but I would anticipate him being an official visit guy in the summer if he's not able to get up to campus this spring. So just a few of the safety names. I would have slight concern about the safety position right now. You don't have any commits yet, no star-studded, big names that are trending towards Notre Dame. Some fine players in Urlacher and Andrews, but they're not, getting the casuals fired up with their star ranking. So yeah, you want to continue to see Notre Dame improve at the safety position, but I kind of look at it as defensive backs overall, because corners can't move to safety. Notre Dame has Carson Hobbs and Leonard Moore committed, and they can give you safety versatility. So can some of the other guys on the roster. But did want to mention, some of those names to keep an eye on for safety.
I want to ask you just one other real general question. Obviously, a lot of changes within Notre Dame football within the last 2 years, and even recently, Tommy Rees leaving for Alabama and Gerad Parker becoming offensive coordinator. When you go from Brian Kelly to Marcus Freeman, obviously the intensity of recruiting is picked up. But just on the offensive side, the offensive coaching staff, how impressed are you with the job these guys have done? And in particular, Parker with a new role now overseeing this offense. So just some general thoughts on the way these guys have recruited on the offensive side the last few months.
I think it's a little much for someone to be like, wow, this is so much improved. Look at all this, when like it's still so early in the game.
Yep.
I do like the two-headed approach of Parker and Guidugli, though. It just seems that they're not co-coordinators, but the way it feels on the recruiting front is that they are. Guidugli is kind of taking an ownership of the entire offense with recruiting. At least for me. And Parker obviously is the offensive coordinator too. So, and even like with Guidugli, his background being, tight ends coach even for a couple months at Wisconsin, right? A lot of the tight ends in Notre Dame's recruiting, Guidugli already had a relationship with, in the 25 class especially. I just like it more. To me, I felt like Tommy Rees as a recruiter was a little bit more he did his own thing. That's at least how I feel. I feel like it was offense kind of, did their thing. Defense kind of did their thing. To me, it feels like Guidugli and Parker are a little bit more Freeman guys. Like they've coached with him before. Like it just, again, I've said to me like 50 times here, trying to make the point very clear. This is my opinion here. That they're more Freeman Foxhole guys. Not
Okay.
that Reese wasn't. I just get the feeling more so with Guidugli and Parker that he fits more of the Marcus Freeman recruiting vibe.
Okay. Finally, I want to talk about someone that meant the world to both of us. And honestly, for Irish fans, he was almost like part of the family. But the late, great Lou Samoji, of course, Blue and Gold Illustrated for decades. It will be 2 years since his passing, coming up in about a week or so. And soon after his passing, I know you came on the show and you were talking about how there was a Lou Samoji scholarship fund that was being created. And Mike, I'm really happy to see that you guys are already starting to do some amazing things in Lou's honor, helping young men and young ladies live out some college dreams.
I can get on here and talk about it, but I would much rather folks go to blueandgold.com and there's a news tab. Click on that. It was an article from April 10th. It's headlined "The Lou Samoji Memorial Scholarship Already Impacting Lives." Todd Burlage at Blue and Gold's worked with Lou for a couple decades, and I just wrote an outstanding piece about it. I would just recommend people go read it, and after reading it, please consider donating to the Lou Samoji Memorial Scholarship. I seriously think about Lou every single day. I miss the heck out of that guy. Like just the impact that he had, seriously, like what would Lou do? I think about that all the time because like in my line of work, how do you handle yourself in this scenario? What would Lou do? Or what would Lou say to do? Because sometimes I would do the opposite of what Lou wanted. Because Lou would always call me and be like, "Hey, Mike, I want your recruiting story to be the main spot on our front page. Can you move my article down?" And you know what I'd always say to Lou? Sure. You know what I would do? Not that. Because I knew his women's basketball story that he wanted me to bump down would probably do better than my, recruiting piece on some, high school freshman or something, just miss the guy. Just miss that guy. Truly the best. A one of one. Just a gem of a human being. The world got a lot darker when Lou Samoji passed because that guy was just the best.